Captain America, even though I've never got, and I'll get more into the comics and more, I've always loved the concept of Captain America on so many different levels. By the way, got that tee. I got a Flash tee, I got a Captain America tee, I got some tees. But Captain America, he's not one of my favorite, he is one of my favorite characters, but not one of my top favorite characters of all time. But it's the symbolism and more. And it triggered in me, and I'm like, how am I gonna deal with this? I actually was walking out of my apartment earlier today when time we're recording this one, and my apartment building, and one of the guys said, "Hey, how you doing?" Or should I say, young man, or I think he said young man, older black gentleman, and he said, or should I say Captain America? And I'm glad that people are recognizing. I know the MCU has done a phenomenal job, but I say all that Captain America symbolizes so much. And I'm going to say some things in there that's going to be controversial. I'm going to say some things that be divisive, but there's just so many different schools of thought on Captain America and what he represents. And we're going to tackle different characters that have played the role of Captain America and more. What's good, y'all? UW back here again, here in 2022. Let's get it. So, Captain America goes all the way back to, I think it was Timely Comics, the predecessor of Marvel Comics. I believe it was Stan Lee, and I forget who else wrote it, but he was a part of the Invaders. So, you had the original Human Torch, I believe John Hammond, Jim Hammond. It was the android. You had Namor the Submariner, my dog. I own first two volumes of Golden Age Namor comics. You had Captain America and Bucky Barnes. I believe Bucky was, and I think, was there anybody else? I know there were four. I think that was them. And so, it was during World War II. Obviously, there was propaganda, but it was the patriotic vibe and more. You get, the super soldier serum, and he's the only one. Eventually, you'll have Project, Wide Awake and stuff. Comics Explained has done this and more, have done phenomenal videos. I know Variant, I'm pretty sure they've covered it over their comic story, but I know Comics Explained, especially if you want a understanding of the history of Captain America, you can go to his channel. Shout out to Rob and Rob Core. He's done several breakdowns and several different videos and iterations with it. So for those who need, with that refresher and what the super soldier serum actually indicates, also the different versions, because the Ultimate Universe and the MCU have a different take on what the super soldier serum is. Anyways, so Steve Rogers, blonde, he's like a regular dude. He's made into, people say, peak of human. Peak human is bullshit. They are superhuman. There's no such thing as peak human, and I get into that. I believe I did a comics lunacy video a couple years back that addressed that. That peak human doesn't exist, or maybe in a few years. It might be like 3 years at this point. Anyways, so he's made to, kind of the pinnacle of, beyond Olympian level. He's made superhuman is what it is. He doesn't get lactic acid, so he doesn't get tired. His dexterity, agility, superhuman strength, superhuman speed, all these superhuman aspects, right? And he originally comes in as a soldier. He is made to be the perfect soldier. Would you say ultimate soldier? No, I'll just say the perfect soldier. Um, the problem is that the formula was lost. Well, the same thing with his shield. Captain America's shield was I forget if it was the perfect type of vibranium or was like counter vibranium. It was vibranium and it was mixed, and that was lost too. Only his shield was made out of that, right? Original shield was like this, but then you have the circular shield later. Uh, and I'll probably address with the shield in other videos as far as in a weapon. But anyways, so Steve Rogers goes in, he has his run, and eventually frozen in ice and whatnot. Steve Rogers is the perfect, and to me, he's the only true Captain America. What he stands for, what he symbolizes, the fact that he's a white man in America, the fact that he's from that era, he's of the greatest generation, the fact that he's one of the greatest leaders in fiction history. Forget just comics, just in fiction history. The fact that he's about what even the MCU. Chris Evans and more captures this beautifully. I can do this all day. Just shout out to Chris for them picking Chris Evans, because just like with Chris Hemsworth looking like Thor, Chris Evans literally is perfect for Steve Rogers. Um, Steve Rogers, him willing to fight through, him willing to go, him never giving up his ideals, him, resolve. He is what Captain America represents. He is really like every embodiment about freedom and more of what America's supposed to be, right? And then so they kind of retroactively did it, if Steve wasn't there the entire, who was this Captain America? Well, it was a false cap, which is why there's issues in the 50s and more. Oh, well, he was just a different cap, right? He tried, but he was never really, they would have different people that take up the mantle because you needed a Captain America, right? It was the symbol. But Captain America is more than the symbol. Steve Rogers makes Captain America. Now, in an alternate timeline, I believe it's an alternate timeline or another universe, Frank Castle becomes Captain America. But Frank, being the Punisher, is a wholly different element. The Punisher's mentality of how he is, he could not be truly Captain America. Frank Castle and what he stands for, how he operates, his modus operandi his MO is completely different. He's too lethal. He's too extreme for Captain America. Captain America is a symbol. The shield, it's a phenomenal weapon. It can be lethal, but the shield is a protector. That is what Captain America, he's a protection of the ideals that America's supposed to be about. And I say it's supposed to be about because it is entirely political. His entire character, just like the X-Men, is entirely political. People say, oh, it's patriotic. No, it's no. Well, patriotic in a way, but it's actually like what the founding fathers would have been about, especially of his generation. And even if you go with the MCU, when he talks about his values, you feel me? And so, whether it be Peggy Carter, you can try to say a woman being, and it's no disrespect to her, not saying she can't, play the role, but she doesn't fit because you're literally trying to rewrite history at that point. And maybe views with feminism, views with different stuff, but would a woman actually represent America in that regard? A woman's perspective doesn't mean that she's any less capable, but it begs a lot of questions when you have a woman taking up that mantle. It begs a lot of questions. Some would find that is very uncomfortable, but it's the truth. Also, it's just like we already have Black Widow. Well, again, it's another timeline and whatnot, or another universe you can go, even with the MCU, you have Black Widow. But you see that Black Widow's whole because she is a product of that same line of thought of making the perfect soldier. They used a woman. And Black Widow's whole thing actually fits better with the woman super soldier, by the way. Unless you were talking about the ultimate sniper and stuff you can get into. But Black Widow's another example of this kind of thing. Someone like Clinton Barton wouldn't be fit perfectly. Hawkeye, or as Ronin, is an entirely different mentality. And so we get to Falcon, the most there's a Flag. There's a couple other guys who try to be something of a Captain America, but they don't live up to the ideals of Steve, right? So Falcon, and now before we get to Falcon, Isaiah Bradley. When they wrote that in, and they tried to experiment, and I'm glad they wrote that in with black men and the whole thing with the racism and more. This is also why, because, oh, you wouldn't be accepted. And I'm trying to remember if it was Blue Marvel, might have been Blue Marvel, where they addressed that racial aspect of why he couldn't be. Yeah, because it wasn't Icon, so it must have been Blue Marvel. Why he couldn't be the hero of America because he was a black man. See, this is why I love the Captain America comics, because it addresses these things. And then Falcon's his own dude. Even whether you go the story with him and the telepathic connection with the bird, you go with him with the suit and him flying. I never was really into Falcon, but I love the fact that Falcon's his own dude. Now in the MCU, him being the successor of Steve makes sense. But then again, you come back with Bucky, excuse me. Bucky Barnes, him being made a Soviet operative and more, him coming back and oh, why can't Bucky have the mantle as a successor? Well, he was the sidekick. Bucky needs to be his own thing, and Bucky was trained differently. So you get in the Falcon, and Falcon's tried to take up the shield, especially in the comics, multiple times. And it just doesn't work because his ideologies are different, his background is different, him as a black man dealing with the things of America, him focusing on that is different. You could say that's not a bad thing, it's a great push in a direction, but it furthers the dialogue. But as far as in Captain America, Falcon could never be. Could there possibly be a black man to be Captain America? Possibly. Just like there was it Duke Thomas? I'm trying to remember who is the in Future State in DC Comics, the Black Batman, the one who took up the mantle. You could try, but to me, there only is a Bruce Wayne. It's truly is Batman and what Batman symbolizes, especially when it comes out of. You understand? And that's another thing. Captain America, because Steve is the only one to receive the super soldier serum. Steve was the one who made the shield what it is. He was literally bodily perfectly built for it. Falcon's his own dude. And so it's like Riri Williams trying to take over. Oh, she did. No, let Riri Williams be Ironheart or whatever the hell she is. She is not Iron Man. Iron Man is Tony Stark. There's just Superman. Well, Jonathan, when you make a character like this, it's not just that they're iconic, they literally embody in their backstory who they are and whatnot. It's different from when it's a title like Iron Fist, Danny Rand, where it's literally an inherited thing, or a Ghost Rider in the case of John and Blaze, where it's literally these powers are bestowed onto people, right? Doctor Strange as a Sorcerer Supreme. Well, there can be other Sorcerer Supremes. That's fine. But when you literally are the origin, the genesis of a character, you cannot, there isn't going to be a proper successor. They can try, but they will always fall short. And so it's Steve Rogers, with the whole Hydra Cap and the whole situation with, people, oh, the Nazi property, why it was so controversial. Some people absolutely loved it, some people absolutely hated it. That's the nature of Captain America. And then you can say, well, there was the cosmic cube, and then okay, you can disagree with the execution of the storyline, but literally, and I was like, whoa. But I was all for it. I'm like, okay, they're going to try this, go with the Nazi war, and people hated it. But I'm like, nope, makes perfect sense. That is Captain America. Captain America being a sleeper agent. Think about it like that. That is literally what kind of stories would you want? Those are the type of stories that Captain America is supposed to be about. Captain America dealing with like Nick Fury, going through like, the spy shit and more. Those are his type of stories. How else would you write Captain America? Now, what does he symbolize? Number one, freedom. And I don't mean this, Lucy, no. Freedom in protecting freedom, having parameters around freedom. Two, anti-tyranny, which is why he also goes against the government as well. Protector of it. Why do you think Civil War was this whole thing, right? Because Steve did not agree with the Human Registration Act. I believe it was the Human Registration Act. With superheroes where the identities have to be released. No, the values that America was supposed to be founded on. And see, that's the thing. Where even such great meta commentary. This is why a character like Captain America is so valuable and invaluable. Is that it's able to address the debates since the Constitutional Convention, the debates after the Revolutionary War, the debates during the Revolution, during the early ones, people like a Patrick Henry and such, a Thomas Paine with common sense, Thomas Jefferson writing the Declaration of Independence with the aid of Benjamin Franklin, different debates that led to the Civil War, amongst other aspects, debates that the modern hippies had, debates that the civil rights movement with the black struggle has, debates up to this day, debates that the Occupy movements, debates with these various situations with George Floyd and more, debates with the Rodney King riots, the LA riots, not in the early 90s in 92, debates with the Watson Detroit riots in the 60s, the anti-war debates. You can, with a character like Captain America, you can literally have social comment, just like the X-Men. And it's so vital to have these conversations. It's so vital to have that being represented. You know, Captain America is, as long as there is a United States, and really, even if there isn't, because it's still certain values. And as long as Steve Rogers is still alive and kicking, you're going to have conversations. And can anybody take up the mantle? It's the same thing of, could anybody take up the mantle after the death of Superman? They've tried to play with the death of Steve Rogers. But I don't think people realize all of what Steve Rogers represents. And, I can go into much deeper, but I'll end it off here for now. It reminds me with Hal Jordan. He's my favorite Green Lantern. I have the Silver Age volumes of Flash, Barry Allen, and I think first volume, and then the same thing with Green Lantern and Hal Jordan. Those are my Flash and my Green Lantern personally. So I grew up with it. Those are some of my favorite characters of all time. Same thing with Steve Rogers. He's my Captain America. And the reason I love it and then comparing it with Steve is that I believe is back in like the 70s, the black man, older black man, this one comic where how, he's talking, he's like, listen, you can say orange people, purple people, green people, whatever, but what about for us black folks? You can have that conversation. And in fact, Falcon has literally confronted Steve about these kind of aspects, you know. And it's just the Captain America line of comics in the Captain America family addresses so many different ideologies in the United States. With an Isaiah Bradley, with I don't want to say Nuke, might have been Nuke, Flag, was it Flagstaff? I'm trying to remember. There's a few different ones. Excuse me for not remembering of some of the variants of Captain America. But yeah, Captain America is, especially in today's world, is a vitally important character. And when he's written right, it's hard to find a better written character. You're up there with Batman. You're up there with Superman. Just like when Superman's written properly, like when Mystique's written properly, when Wolverine's written properly, when any of the legendary figures are written best, when Iron Man's written properly, it is some of the best storywriting you'll ever read. It's some of the best things, and it'll get you to think. It'll get you to question life. What is right? Should I actually defend this? Should I support this system? Is the system itself greater, or you know, does it need to be fought against? Why am I doing what I'm doing? Is what's going on even right? Just because it's convenience, is it right? A character of Captain America challenges all of your values and causes you to question life itself and your place in it, the society you live in. See, Captain America's not godlike. He's not like a Superman, a Captain Marvel, Shazam. He doesn't have any cosmic powers like the Fantastic Four. He's a man. Sure, he's been made superhuman, but at the end of the day, he's just a man. And now, just like the Punisher Frank Castle, just like Batman Bruce Wayne, Daredevil Matt Murdock, characters like that ask you, what would I do if I was in his position? How do I disagree with him? Why is he making the decisions that he does? Is he right? It's great for self growth. It's great for reflection. It's great to see with society. Begs a lot of questions. That's the beauty of Captain America. That's why Captain America is so important. That's why Steve Rogers as Captain America is so important. That's why, writing different storylines and trying to see, well, can somebody feel? No, they'll never be able to feel and see for Steve Rogers. But in the process of doing that, we're able to challenge paradigms. We're able to ask those questions. We're able to challenge things such as race, such as sex. I bring up about Peggy Carter. Um, Things like sexuality, even potentially, if that's where you want to go to. Uh, you know, what do we want to see in society? Are certain things applicable? Are there different rules for different peoples? Are we actually equal? See what I mean? Unexpected one, like, comment, subscribe. Tell me your thoughts on the matter. I like making videos like this that address it's stuff that people talk about, but it also, you know, it begs into further questions and conversations that we can have on these kind of topics. And these are like entry springboard videos into deeper things that we address on this channel and other things that we can. So if there's any other characters, and I plan to do a lot of different videos on a lot of different things of characters that they challenge the paradigm and what more. But if there's any characters you want me to dissect or talk about the symbolism and more, we'll try to get that for you.